Welcome. NOAA has just issued its November of 2021 Global Climate Report, and this video is a summary of that report. Let's first take a look at the global picture. November of 2021 was the fourth hottest November on record. Arctic sea ice was at its second lowest extent, as was Antarctic sea ice. North America had its seventh hottest November, Europe its 15th hottest, Asia its 9th hottest, Africa its hottest, South America the 9th hottest, and New Zealand had its hottest November on record. Meanwhile, Australia had record rains. All of that despite the fact that we have a La Nina operating in the Eastern Pacific. November saw more global high temperature records set. The picture on the bottom right here is a picture of the percentiles map, which shows you where there are record high temperatures and record low temperatures. You can see that there are no record low temperatures. Those are the dark blue on the image. There are some much cooler than average areas, more than last month, but nonetheless still not very much. The main problem areas were Australia, Alaska, and Greenland. Meanwhile, there are huge areas that are much above normal, and also over 100 pixels that are setting new record temperatures. You can see some of the numbers here on the left. Globally, the average temperature was 0.91 degrees centigrade above the 20th century average. Land, of course, is warming faster than the oceans. The Northern Hemisphere had its second warmest November on record, 1.24 degrees centigrade above the 20th century average. The Southern Hemisphere, not quite so much, and that's mainly because it's mostly ocean, at 0.56 degrees centigrade above the 20th century average. We can look in much more detail about the individual records here by looking at the daily records. Daily, there were 11 times more high temperature records set than low temperature records. That's the largest margin I've seen to date. If you go to daily high lows, that's 13 to 1 compared with nights, which is 9 to 1. And that's actually unusual. Normally the nights dominate the days rather than the other way around. Monthly, we set 81 new record highs for every one new record low that we set. Again, a margin that I've not seen before. I've filled in the matrix for November of 2021 with its number 4 position. And you can see that it's beginning to appear that 2021 will be either the 6th or the 7th warmest year on record. Let's take a look at the upper atmosphere. Here is the results from the University of Alabama, Huntsville, Roy Spencer, note a global warming skeptic. And November shows a decrease in global temperatures. Of course, a lot of people are making a fuss about that, but this is just the general month-to-month variability that you see. You look back through the time, and this is not anything unusual. However, if you look at his long-term trend, it's about 0.14 degrees centigrade per decade, which is less than but very similar to the surface temperature measurements. As I said, Arctic sea ice was the second smallest extent on record, and that makes 20 years with below average sea ice extent in the Arctic. Similarly, in the Antarctic, we are the second smallest extent for November, and this is a change from recent months where it's been slightly above average for the sea ice extent. Carbon dioxide continues its relentless increase. November sets yet another new record for carbon dioxide in November at 415.01 parts per million. That is 1.89 parts per million higher than last year. La Nina conditions still prevail in the Eastern Pacific. And you can see from the models, which are in surprising agreement for a change, that this is likely to last through till May or June of next year. I'm going to add a new section to future climate videos, which is detailing severe weather events throughout the month. Starting on the 5th of November, an extratropical cyclone formed in the Mediterranean, a so-called MEDICANE. It was named BLAS. These are relatively rare, though not unknown, and it caused massive rainfall up to 12 centimeters in some places. 9 people were killed. Another major flooding event started in the 6th of November when a tropical depression called Bob affected India and Sri Lanka with major flooding. It killed over 41 people. British Columbia had flooding as well. That was on the 16th of November. Nearly a month's worth of rain fell in 2 days, closing roads, causing mudslides. Hundreds of travelers were trapped and had to be rescued, and there were lots of water rescues as well. 6 people were killed. A relatively rare tornado occurred in Italy, in fact in Sicily, on the 17th of November. It damaged houses and farms and a lot of infrastructure. 1 person was killed and several were injured. The UK got hit with Tropical Storm Arwen. It affected Scotland, Northern England and France. It was a wind and snowstorm event. One peak gust was at 177 kilometers per hour. Roads were closed, train services were cancelled, and over 2,000 people were without power, some for over a week. There were 3 deaths recorded. So summarizing what we've seen so far, La Nina continues. Globally, it's the 4th hottest November on record. High temperature records are being set faster than ever before, much faster than ever before. And we've had multiple extreme weather events during the month. So until next time, stay safe and goodbye.